Hello and welcome. My name's Marie and this is my yarn journey. Today is going to be a pattern roundup. These last couple of weeks I have mentioned a few times that sorting through my stash has reignited my excitement for some of the yarns in there. The change of season, I am starting to realise that I really do prefer knitting spring summer garments, which I never thought I would say. But yeah, so I'm just going to round up 15. I've done a few in the last few weeks as well. I've also done a few deep dives into Ravelry, and also a few of these are unreleased patterns that have been inspired by things I've seen on Instagram, because that is also where I get a lot of my ideas from. But before I dive into talking about the patterns and anything else, I'll first of all say where you can get in touch with me if you need to. And I have an email address, and that is mariesyarnjourney@outlook.com. You can also get in touch on Instagram, and it's maries_yarn_journey. And also, if you would like to contribute to the channel in any way, you can buy me a pattern on my Ravelry wish list, which all these patterns in the video, any that I don't already own, should I say, are going to be on the wish list. And you can buy me a coffee on Ko-fi. And all the links to everything, as usual, will be in the description. I am on Ravelry and have created a Ravelry bundle for today's patterns, but I'm not always very active because I use my iPad on GoodNotes for reading and writing on my patterns. I often don't end up creating Ravelry pages these days. So if you do want any information, you can always message in the comments down below. Anything else I wanted to say? No. So just before we start discussing these 15 patterns that I can't decide which one to cast on with, I do want to talk about what I'm wearing, because we have got a finished object. And I absolutely love this top. This is, oh my golly, the name's gone out of my mind. The Nut Light, sorry. And I've talked about it in detail in my last few episodes. I started this last summer, and I finished it off this week. So I've loved knitting on it. It's turned into the absolutely perfect size. It's comfortable to wear. What I would say is that I think this is my first time knitting with Blueface Leicester, and this is 80% Blueface Leicester, and it's a ginger twist yarn. It's called Sheepish Sock, 80-20, 20% nylon, colour Montrose. I absolutely love the colour. I'm not sure if the colour suits me, but I love it anyway. It's knit up lovely. I like the way that it's got darker areas and lighter areas. I will pop in a picture at the side here of me wearing it so you can see it properly. Yeah, it's just turned out into a lovely fit. It's just relaxed and stretched out enough. What I would say is that it's my first time wearing Blueface Leicester, and there's no prick, well, maybe on the arms. There's a tiny bit of prickle on the arms here because they're quite fitted. But overall, I can feel it more than I do with merino or anything like that. But I think that this is going to soften up over time. I don't think it's going to be an issue long term for me to be able to wear this against my skin. Yeah, I'm super pleased. I've loved knitting it. I did decide to do the second panel of the texture, and I'm really glad I did that. Yeah, overall, very, very successful knit. Okay, so let's start with the first pattern that I want to talk to you about, and that is the Pearl Sweater by Knittomany, I think is how you say the designer's business name. The pattern has not yet been released, but I've seen this on Instagram. Initially, I saw a not pearl, that's the name of the sweater, a pale grey version, and I think that was Cocoon Knits that's knitting that. I've also since seen a lilac version, and it's a beautiful cabled sweater. Now it's very similar to the My Favourite Things, I think it's sweater number 15, the cabled sweater that I fancied doing with my Isla yarn that is being frogged, my Calm Down Cardigan yarn. So I may decide instead to do this one because I'm really drawn to the way that the cables, and you'll be able to see the picture on the side, the cables are half the cable is done in stockinette, and I think the other half is done in moss stitch or something very, very similar. And I don't know what it is about that pattern, because the overall fit of the sweater, the neckline is looking a bit higher than what I would like it, but that might be a compromise I have to make, or I don't know how I would modify that with the cable pattern. But I just think it's absolutely stunning sweater, and I think that will be one that I will make with the Isla yarn. DK weight. I think they've done a DK weight version, and then she's done a version that she's knit that's fingering and fluff. So yeah, but I won't be doing that anytime soon, obviously, as it isn't really seasonally appropriate, is it? But yeah, absolutely stunning. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I really like that pattern. Next on my list is another one that's not actually been released yet, and that is the Winnie top by Lily Kate France. Now, I don't know what it was about this top, but I think it's just, I do really enjoy a sleeveless top. And this one's currently in testing by Lily Kate France, if I didn't say, the Winnie top. And it's the picture you'll see on the side here. It's a brown sleeveless garment. Then she's done like a bit of lace edging just to add a touch of je ne sais quoi, or whatever you want to say. And I just think it's lovely. And I like the way it's a lovely light drapey oversized fit, which means it'll be really nice in warmer weather if you use a seasonal appropriate yarn. That is a DK weight, so I'm not sure I've got something in stash that would be appropriate for that, or in a colour, but I would have to have a good look. I've not really looked yet because the pattern's not yet been released and I can't actually cast it on. I wasn't too worried about pairing a yarn up for that. And the third pattern, and this is a pattern that has been out for a while. It came out last summer, I think it was. And it's the Tulsa Tank by Rebecca Clow. Now, I wouldn't have thought of knitting one of these right now. It wouldn't have called to me, apart from the fact that I saw that Hello Lavender Design on Instagram had done and I'll put the picture here so you can see, but it's a lovely striped version. And I have been enjoying my eclipse tops that I've been making, which, you know, I may well be making another one of them sometime soon. But yeah, this one has the lovely bright colours, and I'm really inspired by the striped version that's been done here and the way it looks with the bright colours and the cream base. So I think in stash I have got some leftover summer yarn I think it's in a fingering now. I think this pattern's DK, but I'll have a look what I've got. I'm sure I've got something I can use for it. If not, it won't take much. And then I'm sure I must have minis in stash that I could probably use for the stripes, and again make quite a fun version of that top, because I do like to have a bit of a pop of bright colours in the stripes. Just think it's really, really cheerful. Okay, and the fourth pattern that I want to talk to you about is the Lyra Blouse. Now, this has been on my radar for a few months. I think, again, it was one that I saw on Instagram, and it's, I can never say this word, Agio knit, maybe. And this is done in a yarn that I have never used before. It's a lace and a light fingering, it says here, that's used together. And it's the ITO, is that ITO? Sensei. And that's, well, it says it's a lace weight yarn, 2-ply. It's, that's a fluff yarn because it is mohair and silk. And then the other yarn that they use is again the ITO. This is a light fingering, and this is 70% wool and 30% camel. So that's quite an interesting makeup of fibres there. And I just really, really like the way that this sweater has got a bit of a more open neckline, which I absolutely love. I quite like the dramatic sleeves, and also like, I think it's twisted rib, and it's got a lovely big panel down the raglan, because it is a raglan. And yeah, it's done in a few colours. It looks like there's options for a 3/4 length sleeve or a full length sleeve. And yeah, I just think it's absolutely beautiful. Now, I don't know whether, I'm very, very tempted that when I do knit this, which again, this is one that I don't think will be very soon, but I just keep looking at it and thinking, oh yeah, I'd really like that as a garment. I think this one is going to be later in the year, but I'm quite tempted to use the recommended yarns, as they're both new to me, although I don't always like a fluff, so I don't know. We'll see when we get to that point in the year. And then number 5 on my list is the Avenue. I'm bumping two patterns together here for number 5, and it's the Avenue Tee and the Avenue Vest, and that's by Tori Yu. And both of these are really calling out to me, and they will be great summer knits. Both fingering weight. Now the Tee, which is the one that I think I'm very tempted to cast on very soon, is a fingering weight, and it's got a very interesting construction where you sort of shape the top of the sleeve while working the body and everything. And then yeah, it looks definitely like something I want to try. There is also a V-neck version which really appeals to me, and I do have a yarn in stash that I think I can use for this, and it's this one. I'm just leaving it in the bag, so sorry about any crinkling. And it's the Taylor Swift yarn, My Creative Garage. And if you remember, I did make a Lily Kate France pattern, a great pattern of hers, but I didn't like the fit of the garment on me when it was done. So I'm thinking if I can use that My Creative Garage yarn in this tee and give this a try to see if the fit is good on me. Now I'm definitely tempted to maybe cast that on in the next week or so. Seeing as this is off my needles, you know, I've got a good excuse. Yeah, and also the vest version, the Avenue Vest, is a lovely low V, which I quite fancy for knitting up. But that pattern is actually a it says worsted weight. what she used in here. So I think she's used mohair and a DK. I would have liked it if this was in a fingering. That would have been a bit better for the summer season, but I really, really like the V-neck version of this, and I am tempted to knit that, but I haven't got a yarn that I don't think I've got a yarn, or I've not looked in my stash really to find one for that, because I think really the tea is the one that I want to cast on first. Okay, so number 6, this is again not seasonally appropriate at all, but as soon as I saw the red colour of this sweater, I just thought, oh, I really like that. And it is the Eyelet Loop sweater by Other Loops. It's very similar, well, it's not really, is it? But it's an oversized, slouchy sweater, which gives me the vibes of my Paul sweater, which I absolutely love. Now, this has got a crew neck, which I don't always go for crew necks, but I may be able to make an adjustment to that. But I'm very, very tempted to do this in a beautiful red colour, sorry. It's saying it's a worsted weight, but let's have a look what yarn that they used. So they've used the number 1 from Onling, and that is a wool and Angora blend. Yes, that's not a 75% merino and 25% Angora. If any, it's saying it's DK weight, so it must be, I'm presuming, a DK. And is it a fluff held together? Oh no, it's not. So this must be a DK weight pattern, because both of these yarns that are mentioned as suggestions for using are DK. I would love to find out exactly what that red version is made in. The other alternative is a Gepard yarn, the Pura Lana, and that is 50% alpaca and 50% wool. So that's a blend that I would love. Anything with alpaca in I tend to really like, because I find it very soft and it has a lovely drape, which I like. So I wonder if it mentions in this information here which yarn this red one is made from. That Onling yarn. Now, I don't know if that's something that we can get in the UK. But again, for this sweater, because I absolutely am drawn to the colour of this sweater and really like it, and I think in my winter wardrobe that would be a real pop of colour, and you know, I've got some black jeans I could wear that with. I'm just thinking, again, it's one where I may well decide to treat myself to the recommended yarn in that pattern. So yeah, apologies, I did say it was a worsted weight, but that's what it was saying on Ravelry, but it looks to me as though both of those yarns are DK weight yarns. You know, sometimes Ravelry is a bit funky when it puts in the weight. Okay, and number 7 is the Vesty, now I don't know if I'm saying this right, tie pie or tay pie, or yeah, by Moki Knits. And I absolutely love this vest. It's got a lovely bit of texture. Although it's a crew neck, it looks a little bit lower down at the front. It's got a bit of cabling detail, because I'm really enjoying texture in knits at the moment. The only thing I wish is that this was a fingering weight, because it would be more seasonally appropriate for me for the summer. I think I'd get a lot of wear out of this. The one that's done with this It's called Laguna Blanca from Tex Andes. It's a DK weight yarn. It's 60% merino, 30% rayon and 10% linen. But this garment knitting that just looks very, very polished. What I am thinking that I may use for this is I might try this. This is a woolly knits cone and it's 100% soft cotton, 400 grams, so I should have plenty to do it. I would have to hold it double. Probably for that one, so I think I've got enough, but we'd have to see. But I just thought that might be an option for doing this pattern. Let's have a look what it says in how much. Maybe I'll have to hold that with something else to do that, but I do think that it would look nice in this colour, and I'm sure I've got something else in stash that I could hold with it if I didn't have enough meterage, because it is saying here, because I've got a 400 gram comb there and I would end up with 200 grams if I held it double to get a DK weight. And let's have a look what it says here in the grams. So it's not saying, which I find very frustrating when patterns do this, but it doesn't seem to be saying anywhere the yardage or meterage that you do. It's just one of them where it tells you with the yarn they've used how many grams. Which I know you can work all that out, but I just think it's hard work. It's like, doesn't make it easy for you when substituting yarns. See now this, 100 grams is 230 meters. And the size that I would need would probably be the third size. So it's saying here that I would need 330 grams. So yeah, I'd have to hold something with that yarn to do it. I'll probably have something in stash. If I don't, I could potentially look at getting another cone of that, because it is quite a reasonably priced yarn. Okay, and that was the vest by Moki Knits. Okay, so the next pattern, number 8 on my list, is A Tea of Dreams by Claire Jackson, and this has been on my list for quite some time, and I've had the yarn for quite some time because I think I got the yarn first time that I went to Yarndale, and I got it for this pattern, and it is, The Tea of Dreams is a lovely summer top. Now the construction of this garment is quite unusual. It's knit in 2 flat panels. Then the 2 flat panels are essentially then joined together down the front sections here, I think. And from what I've looked in the pattern, it's done in fingering weight, and it's a customized fit based on measurements, so it's quite an in-depth pattern that you do a few calculations assisted with the pattern to get your right size and everything. And I just love the way that it's got this lovely deep V, and it's got the patterning, and yeah, and I like the fact that it's an unusual construction. And this is all falling all over the place. It's so soft, this yarn, that it just has all come apart. It's a felt fusions yarn, and it does say it is a fingering. It's 50% baby camel and 50% silk, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I've just not got around to knitting it, but it is one of them that I don't think it'll actually take that long to knit. It's only 2 skeins. of yarn, and it's only those 2 flat, and you knit flat for, which is quite part of it, which I do enjoy a bit of flat knitting. Yeah, again, it's a lovely drapey top, so quite seasonally appropriate as well. And then number 9, again, another one I've had on my list for a long time. And this is the Slightly Sassy V by Amisha Makes. It's a fingering weight garment, and it's a 3/4 length sleeve in this pattern, which drew me to it, and the V-neck. Quite a simple looking garment, but I just thought it would be quite a staple piece in my wardrobe. Now I have picked up a yarn, and I think I showed this actually again in last week's podcast, or recently in a video anyway. This is a yarn that I got at the Woolly Good Gathering. It's a Zakami yarn, and it is colourway Turkish Delight, and this one is 50% baby alpaca, 25% linen, 25% silk. Now this again is another one I'm really drawn to cast on very soon. I think this will be very good for the season, and as a cover-up piece when it's cooler in the evenings, that type of thing. And it's very soft. So I think that one and the My Creative Garage in the Avenue Tea, they are very top contenders for me to cast on very soon out of the patterns that I've mentioned. And the next one, which is number 10 in our pattern roundup, is I think it's Lura Cardigan by So Mean Kim, and it's a fingering weight garment. And this is a one that's been on my list for quite a while, and I've not been brave enough to cast it on. I think she's a Japanese designer or Korean, and this is a lovely lace cardigan, one that I would probably only wear always buttoned up, but I would have to wear a vest top underneath it, or something underneath anyway, because it's quite an open pattern. But I just think it looks very pretty. And what I'm thinking of using for it is, and I think I'm gonna start and go light to dark, was my original thoughts. And this is my advent calendar from a Blue Fern yarns. Now I think when I read the pattern last time, I'm only going to be needing 3 of these skeins. And I just thought if I went light to dark, I know the button band will probably just then end up being in the darker colour. And these colours are Sandbank, Shoal and Tide. And like I say, these are from my 2023 Advent, the 4 weekly Advent that I got from Blue Fern. They're in a lovely superwash, 70% superwash merino, 20% silk and 10% cashmere yarn. So very soft. I think in that lace pattern, these delicate colours will look really nice. And yeah, I wanted to make something really nice with that special yarn. I just need to now be brave enough to cast it on, don't I, and get it on the needles. Yeah, and again, this would be working flat because it is a cardigan. So it has got some bobbles in. Now, whether I do the bobbles, I don't know. We shall see. Yeah, and it's a Korean pattern. So that's been on my radar for quite some time. I keep looking at it, and when I see it in my Ravelry queue and think, oh yeah, I really like that, I should cast that on. But then I think, am I ready for that lace? It does look like quite a repetitive pattern, so I don't know how complicated it'll be. And also to factor in how good the translation will be from Korean to English, because sometimes they can be a bit hit and miss in patterns, and I don't think I've done one of her patterns before. Have any of you knit any of these patterns that I've mentioned? Because I'd love to hear that in the comments, a bit of feedback, and, you know, or again, what's on your radar for knitting at the moment? What are you inspired with? Okay, the next one, again, this is another one that's been on my list for quite some time, and I have got some yarn for this, and this is the, now I'm really not sure how to say this, it's Lyra CA. Obviously this will be up on the screen and there'll be a picture so you can see, and that's by Tricot Design, and I'm going to be using this yarn, which is Midwinter Yarns. I hope you can see through the bag. It's a linen yarn that I'm going to be holding double in a beautiful dark purple. And what drew me to this pattern, obviously I've never knit with 100% linen before, and so I wanted to find something that I could make with that, and I wanted more of an open neckline, and this pattern has the really open neckline. I think it is a saddle shoulder by the looks of it. Contiguous set-in sleeves construction is what it says. And yeah, I do want to knit this, but I think the only reason I haven't knit this up to now is because I'm a little bit like that, how hard it's going to be to knit that linen yarn. I know that the benefit is that you get a garment that over time really softens up and it's perfect for summer weather, but I'm just a little bit like it's going to take a lot out of my hand. I should really get it cast on and just do a bit each day. That would be ideal, but will I do that? Who knows? Hopefully that will be cast on pretty soon. Sorry if I'm looking down quite a lot and not towards you. I'm just trying to give you as much information as I can from these patterns, but like I say, I have done a bundle for all the ones that are available on Ravelry. They are in the bundle, so I'll link that bundle in the description, and if you want to get more information, you can do. So we're getting near to the end here now. So number 12 is the Phoebe top by Amy Sher. That's a fingering weight pattern, and where is that on here? This one really caught my eye. Again, it's another textured no sleeved top, and it's fingering weight, so I knew I could potentially use a few things in stash, but when I was looking through this morning, I had an idea that I could potentially use this, which is from Yarn Unique. It's a luxe yarn, and it's 50% merino, 50% silk, which I thought would be ideal. Now, none of the samples on here are in a very bright colour, but I think that could look really good with this cable design. It is a tonal, and yeah, as soon as I saw that and I looked and I thought, yes, because I probably will have enough because I've got 800 meters. So I think I could do up to a size 4 in this. Let me have a look again. So the meterage required, I've got enough to do 1, 2, 3, 4, up to a size 5, which now normally I'm a 3 or 4 in a pattern. Let me look. Yeah, and I think in this pattern what she does do is she does give you, you do a size based on your upper bust measurement rather than your fuller bust, and then there is what she calls a straight version and a curvy version depending on your full bust. So when you get to download the pattern, that will all be done in there. But yes, I've got enough yarn to do the size, a size that will be appropriate for myself. And yeah, I think this one would be very, very good. And also I've got a few pairs of summer pants that would look very nice with this darker colour as a top. So that's another one I'm very intrigued to get. See, there's all these things I want to knit, but how many will I get? I've only got 2 hands, so how many will I get around to? 1, 2, 5, none? Who knows? Okay, the next pattern, number 13, is, I think it's called Tegna by Caitlin Hunter. And this is a new to me pattern. Where is it? Yeah, and this is when I was looking, doing a Ravelry deep dive, as I've done a few times, and I was looking for textured tees, textured patterns. And to be fair, in this pattern, looking at it, the one that I like the best is the actual, oh no, there is another couple, but mainly the one that I like the best is actually the original designer's thing. I like this because it's got a very open neckline. It's just like a basic tee with an open neckline, but then it's got the lovely lace detail along the bottom, which I thought would be really nice and work with several different yarns from Stash. It's fingering weight, so it'd be nice and light for summer. And I was thinking for that I could use possibly this blueberry ice cream. Or the other option is to use the pure silk, and this is the same for the next pattern that I'm going to mention, which is both of them I've got 1,000 meters, so I've got 4 balls. The next pattern is Violet by, it's another one with lace, I think. Where is it? Ah, yeah. And this one, again, has got a lace at the bottom, but it's not quite as intricate. And it's more of a geometric sort of pattern. Probably a smaller row repeat on that one. Drop shoulder t-shirt. Again, the neckline's a crew neck on this. Is a bit tighter than the other one, but it's a fingering weight. And again, I think I could use any of these 2 colours. Yeah, because I was looking at t-shirts and stuff that have got a little bit of interest, so that if you're doing them with a plain colour, like, you know, kind of like a tonal or a solid, then it adds just a little bit of interest to the garment, and I think that works better in my wardrobe with some of my plainer pants and skirts. But yeah, I haven't 100% decided if these 2 yarns are going to be used on those last 2 patterns, but they are potential options for that. And the very last pattern, number 15, that I want to mention is the Velocore by Andrea Mowry. And that is looks to me as though it's a slip stitch of some sort, or a mosaic pattern, which can be very nice to knit. And it's got a boat neck. This is done with light fingering. So I haven't looked to see if I've got anything that's suitable in Stash. I would hope that I do have. But yeah, I thought it was a really unique, again, it's a kind of textured looking garment. Another one that would add a bit of something to my wardrobe, but I've not really looked at what to use. She did one summer version in this and one colder weather appropriate with a wool. And that's the last pattern. So I hope you've enjoyed this roundup. I hope it's given you a bit of inspiration for your knitting coming into the warmer weather. It's been absolutely beautiful here. And like I say, I've loved knitting on this textured garment. So hopefully I can do a few more. Have you knit any of these patterns? What's on your summer list? You know, head over to the Discord group if you want to show us pictures of what you're working on, because I do like to have a nosy at what everyone else is knitting. And that's everything for today. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.